There's one word you can whisper to a woman, and just once, and it'll echo in her mind for weeks. Not baby, not babe, not even her actual name. In fact, calling her baby might be the very reason she's already checked out, even if she's still texting you back. Here's the uncomfortable truth most men never see. Affection without authority is invisible. When you default to soft, overused pet names, you're not being sweet. You're signaling that you're emotionally available, predictable, and safe. And while that sounds noble on paper, it quietly murders attraction in real life. Because women don't fall for comfort. They fall for contrast, for mystery, for the man who doesn't give everything away, but makes her want to earn it. Today, you're going to learn what I call the forbidden nickname, a single charged phrase that bypasses her logic and speaks directly to her subconscious. It's not romantic, it's not cute, it's primal. And when delivered with the right energy at the right moment, it flips an emotional switch inside her that most men don't even know exists. This isn't manipulation. It's psychology fused with the Stoic discipline, emotional control, masculine restraint, and the kind of presence that doesn't beg for attention. It commands it. If you've ever felt like you're doing everything right, but she still pulls away. If you've been labeled too nice or great guy, but this video will change everything. Stick with me until the end, because I'll reveal not just what to say, but when, how, and most importantly, from what state of mind. And trust me, that last part is where 99% of men fail. Hit subscribe now, because what you're about to learn doesn't just work in dating. It rewires how you show up in every area of your life. Now let's begin. 1. The wrong nicknames that kill attraction. Let's cut through the noise right now. Most pet names don't build intimacy. They destroy it. You've probably been told that calling a woman baby, sweetheart, or honey makes her feel cherished. But here's what no one tells you. Those words are emotional dead ends. They don't deepen connection. They flatten it. Because every time you say baby, you're not standing out. You're blending in with every other man who's ever tried to win her over with softness. Think about it. How many times has she heard baby before? From exes, from guys on dating apps, from strangers trying too hard at bars. It's not special, it's standard issue. And when something becomes standard, it loses all power to move her. Take Tom, a 52-year-old accountant from Austin. After his divorce, he started seeing Lisa, a sharp, emotionally intelligent woman in her late 30s. On their second date, he called her baby. She smiled politely, but didn't lean in. By the third date, he used it again and again. He thought he was being affectionate. In reality, he was broadcasting one thing loud and clear. I'm emotionally available, eager to please, and already invested. And that killed the spark. Why? Because attraction isn't built on comfort. It's built on contrast, on tension, on the subtle push-pull between closeness and distance. When you default to predictable nicknames, you dissolve that tension. You remove mystery. You become safe, and safety, while noble in long-term partnership, is the enemy of early-stage desire. The Stoics knew this instinctively. Epictetus once wrote, "Control your tongue and your mind will follow." In modern terms, don't speak just to fill silence. Don't assign labels out of habit. Speak only when your words carry weight, and that weight comes from restraint. Tom's mistake wasn't caring. It was showing care too soon, too softly, and too generically. If he'd held back, if he'd used her actual name with eye contact, or better yet, stayed silent and let his presence speak, he would have created space for curiosity, she would have wondered, what does he think of me? Instead of assuming she already knew. Here's the psychological truth. Women don't respond to the literal meaning of your words. They respond to the energy behind them. Baby doesn't sound like strength. It sounds like dependence. It feels like a man seeking validation through affection, not offering it from abundance. So stop giving away your words cheaply. Make them rare. Make them deliberate. When you speak less, your presence speaks louder. And when she finally hears a nickname that feels personal, crafted just for her, not recycled from 1,000 failed attempts, she'll know it wasn't given lightly. That's what makes her obsessed. Not the word itself, but the discipline it represents. 2. The forbidden nickname that drives her wild. Forget everything you've been told about romance. The nickname that makes a woman obsessed isn't sweet. It's symbolic. It doesn't soothe her. It stirs her. This forbidden nickname isn't something you'll find in Hallmark cards or rom-coms. It's raw, unexpected, and slightly dangerous. Words like trouble, witch, little storm, or even chaos. And no, it's not about labeling her negatively. It's about mirroring the energy she radiates, the part of her that's wild, magnetic, and untamed. Here's why it works. Women don't fall for logic. They fall for emotional resonance. When you call her baby, you're speaking to her surface, the polite, composed version she shows the world. But when you say you're trouble, you're speaking directly to the hidden current beneath, the playful defiance, the spark that flares when she feels truly seen. Think of it like this. Every woman carries two selves, the one she performs and the one she feels. Most men only ever address the first, but the forbidden nickname bypasses performance and lands squarely in her subconscious. It says, I see the real you, not the version you edit for safety. And that's intoxicating. But, and this is critical, the power isn't in the word itself. It's in your state when you say it. If you blurt out witch while nervous or grinning like you're trying to impress her, it collapses into cringe. But if you say it calmly, with eye contact, from a place of grounded stillness, like you're stating a simple truth, she'll feel it in her bones. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." Your energy colors every word you speak. Say trouble from insecurity, and it sounds like flirtation. Say it from composure, and it sounds like prophecy. Timing matters just as much. Drop it once, maybe during a moment of playful tension when she's teasing you or testing your frame, then pull back completely. Don't explain it. Don't repeat it. Let silence amplify it. That gap between words is where obsession grows. She'll replay it in her mind, wondering, why did he say that? Does he really see me like that? This isn't manipulation. It's psychological polarity, creating contrast between closeness and distance, warmth and restraint. You acknowledge her fire, but you don't feed it endlessly. You let her chase the meaning. And because the nickname is rare and charged, it becomes addictive, not through repetition, but through scarcity. Like a single drop of perfume in a quiet room, it lingers far longer than a heavy spray. So stop chasing reactions. Observe her energy. Speak from stillness. And when the moment aligns, give her a name that reflects not who she says she is, but who she feels she is when no one's watching. Tell us in the comments. What's a nickname you've used or heard that actually shifted the energy between you and a woman? I read every one. 3. Why baby kills her desire fast. Let's be brutally honest. Baby doesn't create intimacy. It kills polarity. On the surface, it sounds warm, affectionate, romantic even. But in reality, every time you say baby, you're not drawing her closer. You're signaling that you've already surrendered your frame. You've moved from a position of grounded presence into one of emotional dependence. And women feel that shift instantly, even if they can't name it. Take David, a 55-year-old financial advisor from Chicago. He met Rachel, a sharp, driven marketing executive in her late 30s. Early on, she was drawn to his calm confidence, his quiet strength. But as their connection deepened, David got comfortable. He started texting things like, "Hey baby, miss you," and "Can't wait to see you tonight, baby." At first, Rachel didn't react. But slowly, almost imperceptibly, she began pulling back. Her replies came later. Her energy grew distant. When David finally asked what changed, she said something that cuts to the core of modern attraction. "You used to make me feel excited. Now you just feel safe." That word, safe, isn't a compliment in the early stages of romantic tension. It's a verdict. Because desire thrives on unpredictability, not comfort. And baby is the verbal equivalent of a worn-out sweatshirt. Cozy, familiar, and utterly devoid of mystery. Psychologically, baby places her above you. It's a word of worship, not partnership. It subtly says, "I'm emotionally invested. Please validate me." And no woman, especially one who's used to being desired, finds that magnetic. In fact, it triggers the opposite response. She starts testing you, wondering if you'll ever reclaim your edge. This is where most men confuse warmth with weakness. You can be kind, you can show affection, but if you flood her with softness too soon, you erase the very tension that fuels attraction. She stops wondering what you're thinking, because you've already told her everything. The Stoics warned against this exact trap. Seneca wrote, "He who is everywhere is nowhere." Apply that to affection. When it's constant, it becomes invisible. When baby appears in every text, every sentence, it loses all weight. It's no longer a term of endearment, it's background noise. True power lies in selective warmth. A man who holds back his affection doesn't seem cold, he seems intentional. And when he does offer closeness, a steady gaze, a well-timed touch, a nickname that carries meaning, it lands 10 times harder because it wasn't given freely. David's mistake wasn't caring. It was confusing availability with value. Had he stayed grounded, used her name, held eye contact, spoken less but with more presence, Rachel would have kept chasing that spark instead of mourning its loss. So delete baby from your vocabulary. Not forever, but until you've built real polarity. Because desire isn't born from safety. It's born from the space between two people who haven't yet revealed everything and aren't in a rush to. 4. How the right word hits her subconscious. Most men speak to a woman's ears. The ones who create obsessions speak to her subconscious mind, the hidden layer beneath her logic, where emotion lives, memories form, and desire is born. Here's the key insight. Women don't remember what you say. They remember how your words made them feel. And the right nickname doesn't just sound clever. It bypasses her conscious filters and lands directly in that emotional core. Think of her mind like an iceberg. The surface, the part she controls, is polite, rational, and guarded. But beneath it lies everything that truly moves her. Longing, curiosity, vulnerability, the thrill of being seen without being exposed. That's where the forbidden nickname operates. When you call her Trouble or Little Storm, you're not describing her personality. You're mirroring her energy. You're naming something she feels but rarely hears spoken aloud. And because it's unexpected, symbolic, and slightly dangerous, it triggers a neurological response. Dopamine, curiosity, even a hint of fear, all of which fuse into attraction. But, and this is critical, the word itself has no power unless your energy carries it. If you say "which" while grinning nervously or fishing for approval, her subconscious registers insecurity, not magnetism. But if you say it calmly, with eye contact, from a place of stillness, it vibrates at a different frequency. She doesn't analyze it, she feels it. Epictetus nailed this 2,000 years ago. First, say to yourself what you would be, then do what you have to do. Before you speak to her, decide who you are. Are you a man seeking validation, or a man who observes, acknowledges, and remains unshaken? The difference is everything. Take Elena, a 37-year-old artist from Portland. She went on a date with James, a 51-year-old architect. Midway through dinner, she playfully challenged him. "You seem too composed, like nothing ever rattles you." Most men would have defended themselves or tried to impress her with a story. James simply looked at her, paused, and said, "You're chaos and silk." He didn't explain it, didn't smile too wide. Just held her gaze for a beat, then changed the subject. That single phrase haunted her for days, not because it was poetic, but because it felt true. It named the tension between her polished exterior and wild inner world. And because he delivered it without need, it landed like prophecy, not flattery. This is how obsession begins, not with repetition, but with resonance. One well-timed word, spoken from composure, creates silence afterward. And in that silence, her imagination takes over. She replays your tone, wonders what you saw in her, questions whether you'll say it again. And that mental loop? That's addiction. So stop trying to be understood. Start aiming to be felt. Speak less, observe more. And when the moment aligns, give her a name that reflects not who she says she is, but who she feels she is when she's most alive. Drop a comment below. Has a single word ever shifted how a woman saw you or how you saw her? I read every one. 5. When to say it and when to pull back. Timing isn't just important, it's everything. You could have the perfect forbidden nickname, the calmest presence, and the deepest understanding of feminine psychology. But if you say it at the wrong moment, it evaporates like mist in sunlight. Most men fail not because their words are weak, but because they speak too soon, too often, or without silence afterward. The forbidden nickname only works when it's rare, unexpected, and wrapped in stillness, both before and after. It's not a tool for constant affection. It's a lightning strike, sudden, vivid, and gone before she can fully process it. Let's look at Eric, a 54-year-old construction manager from Seattle. He'd been seeing Megan, a sharp, independent woman in her early 40s, for a few weeks. She respected his composure, but kept testing him, teasing him about being too unshakable. One night over dinner, she leaned in with that playful smirk and said, "Do you ever get flustered? Or are you just made of stone?" Most men would have cracked a joke, defended themselves, or tried to impress her with a story. Not Eric. He held her gaze for a beat, then said quietly, "Your trouble?" And then he said nothing else. No follow-up, no smile chasing approval, just silence. That pause changed everything. Megan's expression shifted instantly. Her shoulders relaxed, her eyes flickered, not with confusion, but with recognition. In that moment, she didn't feel flirted with. She felt seen, and because he didn't explain it or repeat it, The phrase took root in her mind. 2 weeks later, she brought it up herself. "So, am I still trouble?" That's when Eric knew he hadn't just spoken a word. He'd planted an idea that had been growing in her subconscious ever since. This is the Stoic art of measured speech. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Let your words be few and your actions fair." In attraction, fewer words mean greater weight. A single charged phrase delivered at the precise moment she's testing your frame, teasing, challenging, or trying to read you, is far more powerful than a dozen compliments. But here's where discipline matters. Never chase the reaction. If you say it again the next day, hoping to recreate the magic, you kill it. Repetition breeds predictability, and predictability kills desire. Think of your words like perfume. A single drop lingers for hours. A heavy spray overwhelms and disappears fast. So wait, observe, let tension build. Then, when she least expects it, drop the nickname once. Hold eye contact, walk away from the need for her to respond. Let silence amplify what you've said. Because obsession doesn't start when she hears your voice. It starts when she can't stop hearing it in her head. 6. Mystery makes her addicted to you. If you want a woman to think about you long after you've walked away, stop trying to be fully understood. Because here's the uncomfortable truth. Mystery, not explanation, is what keeps her craving more. When she feels like she's figured you out, curiosity dies. And when curiosity dies, so does attraction. Most men get this backwards. They believe that if they reveal more stories, more feelings, more affection, they'll become more lovable. But in reality, the more you explain yourself, the less she feels drawn to you. Why? Because women aren't wired to chase clarity. They're wired to chase emotional tension, the space between knowing and not knowing, between closeness and distance. This is where the forbidden nickname becomes a masterstroke of psychological design. It's not just a word. It's a hint, a whisper of something deeper that refuses to be pinned down. When you say "you're chaos" once, and then retreat into silence, you don't give her answers. You give her questions. Why did he say that? Does he really see me like that? Will he say it again? And in that mental space, obsession takes root. Take Marcus, a 53-year-old former Marine turned therapist from Denver. He met Sophia, a fiercely independent documentary filmmaker in her late 30s. Early on, she kept testing him, teasing, provoking, watching for cracks in his composure. One evening, after she playfully accused him of being too unreadable, Marcus simply looked at her and said, "You're a storm with good intentions." Then he changed the subject. He didn't explain it, didn't smile for approval, just let it hang in the air like smoke. Sophia was quiet for a full 10 seconds. Then she laughed. But it wasn't her usual sharp, performative laugh. It was softer, real. And for the next week, she couldn't stop thinking about it. Not because it was poetic, but because it felt true and yet unknowable. That's the power of mystery. It forces her imagination to fill the gaps. And her imagination will always paint you as more compelling than reality ever could. The Stoics mastered this principle centuries ago. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The more we value things outside our control, the less control we have." Apply that to attraction. If you're desperate for her to get you, you'll overshare. You'll text too much. You'll repeat the nickname, hoping to recreate the spark. But if you value your inner composure more than her validation, you stay grounded. You speak sparingly. You reveal yourself like a man revealing cards, one at a time, only when necessary. Mystery isn't about playing games. It's about emotional discipline, It's the courage to let silence speak louder than words. To trust that your presence, calm, steady, slightly unreadable, is more magnetic than any explanation. So don't flood her with attention. Give her tension. Don't try to be transparent. Be steady, grounded, and just mysterious enough that she can't quite define you. And that's exactly why she can't forget you. Comment below. Has silence ever worked better for you than words? I read every response. 7. Speak to her emotions, not her logic. Here's a truth most men never grasp. Women don't fall for explanations. They fall for feelings. You can tell her you're successful, kind, or emotionally intelligent until you're blue in the face. But if she doesn't feel something in your presence, none of it matters. Logic informs, emotion transforms, and attraction lives entirely in the emotional realm. Most men operate from the neck up. They talk about their careers, their travel stories, their plans for the future. All valid topics, but utterly dead in the water when it comes to sparking desire. Why? Because those things live in her thinking mind, not her feeling body. And desire isn't born in the cortex. It's ignited in the limbic system, where memory, sensation, and primal response collide. Take Mark, a 57-year-old retired pilot from Arizona. Early in his dating life post-retirement, he'd meet women and immediately launch into detailed accounts of his time flying commercial jets. Routes, emergencies, technical specs. He thought he was being impressive. In reality, he was putting her to sleep, not literally, but emotionally. Her eyes would glaze over. Her posture would soften into polite disengagement. She wasn't bored by his life. She was starved for emotional texture. Then one night, he tried something different. Instead of listing facts, he leaned in slightly and said, "You know what I miss most about flying? That moment right before takeoff, when everything's shaking and you know something powerful is about to happen." That single sentence did more than 10 stories ever could. Why? Because it painted a feeling, not a resume. It pulled her into a sensory experience, vibration, anticipation, awe. She didn't just hear him, she felt him. This is exactly how the forbidden nickname operates. When you call her Trouble or Little Storm, you're not describing her personality. You're evoking an emotional state. You're tapping into the part of her that thrills at unpredictability, that dances with danger, that hides behind polished words. And because it bypasses logic, it lands deep, where memory and longing live. Marcus Aurelius understood this intuitively. The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. Your words don't just convey information, they dye her emotional atmosphere. If you speak from calm certainty, she feels grounded. If you speak from playful tension, she feels alive. But if you speak from explanation, she feels nothing. Men who over-explain kill polarity. They keep the conversation in her head, where analysis lives and where attraction dies. But emotion creates imprint. When she remembers how she felt around you, seen, stirred, slightly off balance, that's what pulls her back. Not your job title, not your intentions, your emotional signature. So stop trying to be interesting. Start making her feel something. Use tone, use timing, use silence. And when you do speak, speak from sensation, not strategy. Say less, mean more, and let your presence, not your resume, do the seducing. 8. Name her energy, not her need. Here's the final, most powerful layer of this forbidden nickname strategy. And it's the one that separates men who create fleeting sparks from those who ignite lasting obsession. Don't describe what she says she wants. Name what she feels. Most men operate like emotional detectives. They listen to her words and try to solve her needs. She said she wants honesty, so I'll be extra transparent. She mentioned feeling lonely, so I'll text her more. But this approach doesn't build attraction. It builds dependency. And dependency kills polarity. Why? Because naming her need puts you in a parental or therapeutic role. You become the fixer, the listener, the safe harbor, not the magnetic force that pulls her out of her routine and into something electric. But when you name her energy, you bypass performance entirely. You don't react to what she says, you respond to what she radiates. The playful tension in her laugh, the subtle challenge in her gaze, the wild spark beneath her polished exterior. That's where true connection lives. Take Daniel, a 56-year-old professor from Boston. He met Ava, a 39-year-old gallery curator known for her sharp wit and guarded heart. Early on, she tested him constantly, teasing, deflecting, keeping conversations intellectual. Most men would have tried to impress her with knowledge or soothe her with reassurance. Daniel did neither. One evening, after she'd just finished mocking his taste in music with that half smile that hides vulnerability, he looked at her and said calmly, "You've got chaos wrapped in silk tonight." He didn't explain it, didn't smile for approval, just held her gaze for a beat, then poured more wine. Ava froze. Not because it was clever, but because it felt true. He hadn't responded to her words. He'd mirrored her energy, the elegant control masking inner fire. In that moment, she didn't feel analyzed. She felt seen. And that's the alchemy of naming energy. It creates intimacy without exposure. She doesn't have to confess anything. You simply reflect back the invisible current she's already emitting. This is Stoic mastery in action. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." A man who names energy doesn't get tossed by her moods or words. He observes the deeper pattern, the emotion behind the performance, and speaks to that. He stays centered while she dances around the truth. When she's teasing you with crossed arms and a smirk, that's not resistance, it's invitation. Say, "You're trouble when you're nervous." When she's quiet but her eyes are intense, don't ask if she's okay. Say, "You hold storms better than anyone I know." These aren't compliments, they're acknowledgments. And acknowledgement, when delivered from calm certainty, creates a bond logic can't replicate. Because women don't crave understanding, they crave recognition. The feeling that someone sees past their mask and still chooses to stand close. So stop trying to meet her needs. Start reading her presence. Watch how she moves, how she breathes, how her voice shifts when she's testing you. Then name it, once, quietly, without expectation. That single act tells her, "I'm not here to fix you. I'm here to witness you." And that's what makes her obsessed. Tell us in the comments, have you ever named a woman's energy instead of reacting to her words and watched everything shift? I read every response. Conclusion: the power of one word, said from stillness. By now, you understand this isn't about nicknames. It's about presence. The forbidden nickname, the trouble, the storm, the chaos in silk, isn't magic because of its syllables. It's powerful because it's a vessel, a single symbolic phrase that carries your emotional state, your restraint, and your unshakable frame directly into her subconscious. Most men speak to be heard. The Stoic man speaks to be felt. And when he does speak, he chooses words like a master painter chooses brush strokes, sparingly, deliberately, with full awareness of the space they'll leave behind. Because it's not the word that lingers, it's the silence after it. That's where her imagination takes over. That's where obsession is born. Let's be clear. This isn't manipulation. It's psychological clarity fused with masculine discipline. You're not trying to trick her into wanting you. You're aligning your energy so that when you do acknowledge her, truly see her, it lands with the weight of truth, not performance. Think back to every woman who ever couldn't stop thinking about you. Was it because you said the right thing? Or because you held yourself in such a way that your few words echoed louder than anyone else's speeches? That's the secret. You don't need more lines. You need more stillness. You don't need better words. You need better timing. You don't need to be understood. You need to be unforgettable. And that happens not through effort, but through restraint. So delete baby from your vocabulary. Not forever, but until you've built real polarity. Replace it with observation, with presence, with the courage to say nothing. Until the moment demands one perfect word. Then say it once. Hold her gaze. Walk away from the need for her reaction. Let her chase the meaning. Let her replay your tone. Let her wonder if you'll ever say it again. Because that's how you become more than a man she dated. You become a man she can't forget. If this resonated, drop a comment below with your biggest takeaway, or the nickname you'd never dare say but now might. I read everyone. And if you haven't already, hit subscribe. We dive deep into Stoic psychology, emotional mastery, and the kind of masculine presence that doesn't just attract women, it transforms your entire life. Remember, the most powerful men aren't the loudest. They're the ones whose silence makes the world lean in.